This is the most transformative release that we've had in Destiny. It's going to bring a new story with a different tone. So a brand new campaign, 2 new places to go, a new experience in Gambit, new strikes, a raid, a bunch of sandbox changes. So we're changing the world for everybody. We're adding collections, triumphs, random rolls. It's a lot there.
Supers, planets,
new supers. There's
bosses,
even a bow now.
bow and
It's
arrows.
amazing. So I mean, like, yeah, it's a hard question to answer very quickly, but there's a lot in Forsaken.
It's also because we're doing so many systemic changes and adding things like this character boost. It's a really awesome time for people to come in to play Destiny. If you've been looking from the sidelines and you're like, what's that Gambit thing? Like, it's a new game mode. Like, what is that? Like, you can come in and play with your friends right away.
Forsaken, we have packed so much into this release, and the way that we're delivering the content, there's always something to do and to go find and to chase, and I hope people can play Forsaken for the. I mean, our goal is to have them be playing for the rest of the year with Forsaken and all the stuff that we're launching day one, and then the way that we're doing the annual pass and the seasons. That there's going to be something for you to play throughout the year, and then we'll talk about what's after that.
Yeah, there's definitely things like random rolls that we think are going to be motivating to people to really get that god roll and then like masterwork it up and get that perfect mod on it and have that real investment feel in the weapon. And as new events come out, new things, like there's going to be new weapons, and people are going to be hopefully having good discussions about what the best thing is. And we also have things like titles that are really hard to get. They're going to float over your head, and kind of you're going to be able to brag about your accomplishments. And so there's things like that are going to take a while to do. And so what our goal is to make it that hobby, that every night you have a reason if you want to log in. And so that's what we're going for.
Best way to answer a raid question is that we're being pretty hush-hush. We want that experience to be something that players get to see for themselves.
Something people don't know is that the raid team is very intimidating, and they have eyes and ears everywhere. And
Yeah.
so I am whatever this is, and so if I said anything about the raid, they know where I sit, and I would have to
No more
go into
interviews
hiding
for
and
you.
no more
It's gonna be
anything. But they're also very nice.
Gambit is, I think, a result of like what we saw that Destiny was just super good at. Shooting aliens in the face and then competing against other Guardians are 2 things that we wanted to kind of merge together. We've been thinking about Gambit for a long time. We've been working on Gambit for almost 2 years as a concept. And so as soon as we married those 2 ideas, putting players into 2 competing arenas, doing the things that they already understood, knew how to do, but we could, throwing waves of enemies at them and seeing if they could be the more efficient team and getting and earning points to win the game. Like, that's how it started. And then we quickly realized we wanted those teams to be able to interact across those arenas in more interesting ways, and we added the blockers, and then we added the invasion mechanic. And the invasion mechanic was like the last piece of the puzzle, and as soon as that got in, we knew we had something special.
So we took a lot of inspiration for Forsaken from just the themes of a Western. So while the game is not a Western game, we wanted a lot of the art and a lot of the kind of aesthetics of the game and the tone to have that feel
And the
to it.
style.
And the style. Like, because we were telling a kind of dark revenge story, we thought that was interesting. And so, we got inspiration for a bunch of the bosses, a bunch of the environments, how the characters talked and looked and dressed, and all that stuff came from a lot of Western. And then we were looking at Destiny and evolving it over the years. So those 2 things kind of came together to get the feel that we have with Forsaken. So when we think of things that maybe we had to cut out of Forsaken, one of the things that Steve and I have been talking about over the last couple of weeks as we've been wrapping up are decisions that we're happy we made, or things that we had to settle for that we weren't planning on. And when I use that word, it's like, I'll give you an example where, hey, what if we made the Baron hunts some other thing other than adventures? We talked about that, and then we ended up making them adventures, and we're actually really happy we did that. And so we've been reflecting on things like that. So it's interesting because I haven't thought about that in a while, and I think it's because we're really happy with where the game is.
I have another one too.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we figured out a way. Like, we have cut some things that we initially set out to do.
Yep.
But we found a way to turn those, I think, into actual like wins anyway, like actually improvements. So For example, like early on, we wanted to make a new social space.
Oh, right.
One of the new characters was gonna have this his own social space, and you were gonna have to go there. We realized pretty early we weren't going to be able to do that in the way that we wanted, and so we brought that character into the actual destination, and so what happened is the whole destination kind of became his lair as opposed to an entirely separate space. And I think it honestly is a better implementation, and it was something that we could do. And so we've turned those cuts that we've had to make into, I think, like improvements.
Yeah, one of the reasons I think we feel that way is that because we're really focused on what the player experience and the feeling is that we're like, well, that is one execution of that feel, but here's another one that is maybe a little more achievable, and then once we commit to that, it helps kind of like, it's like planting a tree and then little branches go out, and we're like, oh, interesting, like, what if we did this? And so, there's like the original intentions, and then it evolves into something different. Like I was actually looking at the original Greenlight deck for the game, and it's changed a lot. It's really interesting. A lot of things are
expanded, right?
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the
things
things
gotten bigger, not smaller.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot of the things are still there. A lot of those nuggets and those cores and the destinations and things like that are there, but they've grown and evolved as other games have come, as Osiris and Warmind have come out and D2 have come out. It's helped inform like triumphs and collections and the bow, and so those things weren't in the original vision of the game. I don't think even the supers were. And so there's a bunch of, like, to that extent, we were able to add a lot. Right. The two things that are going to be kind of front and center that, like, launch day are both Gambit and the campaign. And so I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to start the campaign, and then I'm going to play Gambit for a bit, and then I'm going to go back to the campaign. That's my plan, although Steve and I have played it just as much as about anyone on Earth right now, so I have a unique perspective, I guess.
Yeah, the campaign, the structure of the campaign is, we think is a little bit different. It's a little bit more interesting. You're not designed to like just try to get through it as fast as possible. It's designed to distract you a little bit, to send you off on, to have the player have to make choices about what they have to do to go chase down Aldrin. And during that, you can decide to go play Gambit to get stronger, to then be able to go after one of the Barons. And it's that introduction into the other activities in Destiny that I'm really excited about. It gets everyone that's whether they're an old player or they're a new player to Destiny, they're going to be exposed to all the things that make Destiny special and unique during the campaign. And so I would want to say like getting through the story and getting to the Dreaming City is going to be extremely exciting to people. And I would say like don't rush through it though. Don't try to get there too fast. But getting to that is going to feel really good, and then playing Gambit for the first time, I would encourage people to try to get into Gambit as soon as possible.
Well, we're excited because we've played a lot of Gambit, but not with our characters on our couches with everyone on Earth, right? And so I'm personally very much looking forward to that experience.
Maybe get to the point in the story where you get your first bow.
Actually, that might.
So that you can start using the bow.
Well, see, we have a few
angles.
We have a few angles here where that might, and we might know some things, but
yeah.
that is something that I think I will be doing.
Yeah.